Welcome back to another episode of Agents of Travel. We're on season 4. This is episode 2. And we've got a fun one.
Yes. Real banger.
A real banger in the house. We've got from Smosh, Arasha Lalani.
Woo!
She joined Smosh while I was there, and she's killing it over there still. Mm-hmm. She's got a show coming out.
Yeah, that everybody should go see.
Go see or live stream. Mm-hmm. It's at the Dynasty Typewriter, and it's called How I Met Your Masi. You can find it on dynasty.tv. That's where they live stream all their stuff. It's $15. Mm-hmm. You'll hear her talk about it.
Yeah, and definitely worth it.
Yeah, it's going to be a fun one. All right, enjoy the episode. Yeah, how have you been? Wait, so you've got something coming up right now for the stage. Like, it's been when was the last time you were on stage?
You know, actually, I just did a show two weekends ago, and it was kind of the precursor to this upcoming show. We did it at the Elysian, and it was called the BOGO Show. So buy one, get one.
Cool.
We essentially collabed with another sketch group. And it was such a success.
Cool.
Like, so fun. I think it really was the first time that I had gotten on a big stage and performed in front of over 100 people, like a big audience.
Were you kind of like, compared to all the screen acting where you like, now this is living? Was it nice to get validation, or was it kind of scary
feedback?
to be?
Instant feedback is great. I think I work really well in front of a live audience because I'm so susceptible to paying attention to how they are reacting. Like if they are laughing and they're interacting, I am immediately much more confident. I'm like, oh, they're loving this.
Yeah.
They're eating what I am feeding, and therefore I am going to do better.
Yeah,
I love that you like the food I am giving.
Yes,
to
you like how I'm
my
tasting
comedy
right now.
meal. You like
because it's hard when you look out and it's just like a cam up and a grip, kind of busy, checking the sound up, checking levels, and you're like, did that land? I have no idea.
Right? Are you loving this?
Yeah.
Or most of the time they're like, hey, we have to be silent so that we can get it for camera.
Yeah.
But trust us, we're laughing.
Yeah.
And I'm like,
No,
I'm not trusting that.
You're like,
no.
You could still smile quietly.
Yeah.
Right. Give me some nods. Give me some fake laughter, some clapter back there. I'd love to see that.
So what have you got coming up? What's this next one?
So the big show, so I basically started this universe, we could say.
Okay.
You're a god?
You're God.
Yes, yeah. I basically created a new world. And it's called How I Met Your Masi.
Okay.
And basically this is the brainchild of me and one of my best friends, Lily. And we are telling the story of how we became friends. Which
cool.
Which is
That's
through
sweet.
the lens of it's us telling our future kids, through a series of flashbacks, which are these sketches. So interestingly enough, it's kind of also like a narrative play because it tells one story, but it's like a sketch comedy show because it's different shenanigans in different locations.
Yeah.
That's so cute.
Yeah.
Wait, I have a question.
Yeah.
What is a Masi? Or is that a nickname?
No,
or
that's
is
a great
it
question.
Yeah.
A Masi is basically your brother's wife.
Oh, okay.
Or it might also be like your husband's sister. So it's basically just like an aunt.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Wait, but your husband's sister, so that would be like your sister-in-law, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Yes, yeah, that's like your Masi. So we are telling it to our future kids in that format of how we met each other. So
That's
super
so
fun.
cute.
Yeah.
Well, and also so there being a term for even your Masi, does that imply too that there's kind of this culture of you do become super tight always? Is that a cultural thing, or is it more just Masi is just the term for a sister-in-law and you typically feel any sort of way?
That one. Yeah.
Okay,
The
cool.
latter. It's sort of in our culture, there's so many different names too that kind of differ, even with grandma and grandpa, right? That's Nani and Nana. Or on your mom's side versus your dad's side, there's different names for everybody.
Oh.
And it doesn't necessarily translate to the relationship or being close knit to that person. person. It's just sort of what you refer to them as. But obviously in this context, it has formed meaning because we first began as friends, or as you'll sort of see our story kind of unravel, which is what the fun part is, right? It's like there is sort of this reveal up front of like, okay, so obviously some sort of relationship is going to build, but there's still like tons of twists and turns, and that's my favorite part, right? In a sketch comedy show, you're kind of just expecting like, great, I'm just going to see these random sketches, it's going to be fun, lighthearted, and we move on. But our story actually carries a lot more heart. And it's actually sort of shocking in the way that you're like, wait, I didn't think I was going to feel those things. So.
Oh, so does that mean like some of the sketches themselves are kind of like maybe like not always gonna, I'm sure they're all comedic, but like, would you say that like some of the sketches are like, this one actually like punches the feels harder?
100%.
Yeah.
You
like
you
that.
expect that you're just going to be laughing, but you'll actually feel a myriad of things.
That's so cool.
Yeah. I'm excited.
I like those kind of sketch shows.
Me
too. I haven't
too.
seen one like that in a while.
Exactly. Yeah. So we're super
So it's nice
excited.
that,
Yeah, and we're putting it up at the Dynasty as
Oh,
well,
Dynasty
which is great.
typewriter.
Yeah.
Cool.
Very cool.
It's going to be
When?
awesome. So it's going to be on May 30th. So
May
you guys
30th.
should come
Okay,
too.
yes,
It's going to be
please. Yeah.
super fun. I mean, we want like, we're going to live stream it as well, which is what's
cool.
awesome. So like a global audience can stream, but we obviously want like our friends in the audience. You
I didn't know
know
Dynasty was doing that. Is that like on their website? Oh, that's cool.
It's like new-ish
Okay.
as they're trying to launch as like both
Yeah.
lives on stage and live stream. So this is like a really great show for them as well. They were super excited to have us because
Yeah.
they want more like multimedia shows, not just like, again, your typical sketch or improv or stand-up show. They wanted something completely different. And so that's why it was great for us to be able to pitch this too.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Well, I have another question, which was
Yeah.
like, what was the process of making this show like?
yeah.
So like of writing it with your friend Lily, like what did that entail?
It's been so wild because, like I said, we have been ideating this for over a year. Essentially, we actually began not thinking this would blossom into what it was. But at first, Lily was approached to do just a sketch in some South Asian comedy show. And she asked me if I wanted to write with her and just do one sketch. And so we ended up meeting up. And as we were writing this sketch, we were like, there's a whole world here. We've
Yeah.
actually just built like so much more than just one little sketch. Like there's a lot going on. And so we continued to kind of flesh it out. And we were like, okay, there's like at least 10 to 15 stories inside of this that we can tell. We continued to kind of peel back the layers, and now we have this fully fledged story that we even want to pitch to streaming.
Yeah.
So our show actually is kind of going to be like a proof of concept
That's
of
smart. Yeah.
this is the stage version,
Yep.
but we also have a pilot ready to hand out. So right after the show, we can be like, if you enjoyed that, like, we think this can be a whole show.
Yeah.
We're obviously going to shift the title, I think, from How I Met Your Masi then. So that way it isn't any confusion.
Unless it gets picked up by whoever.
The same
Yeah,
creators.
Chuck
everybody wants.
Glory?
No,
no,
that's
no,
not
that's
a Chuck
not
Lorre
him. That's
show.
not him.
No.
That's not him. My bad.
Yeah.
I take it back.
But you know, I mean, IP is hot right now.
I think so.
That's-
People love a sequel, which
Exactly.
wasn't always the case. So
Yeah.
we'll see. I think we're very excited for it. And again, it's just been something that we've poured so many hours into. So
Yeah.
like that was a year ago. And since then we have been meeting like, honestly, it's like a part-time job. Like there's so much to do in it. And we've cast the show too, like with so many incredible actors. Like that's what's also super fun is it feels like a show where we've pulled in people from TV, from movies, from the internet.
Cool.
Like
who? Can you reveal?
I think I can reveal
reveal?
it. I think I can reveal a
this is-
couple.
Okay.
Yeah, our like full cast lineup is to be announced by the end of this month, so I'm sure it'll be out there. But Rizwan Manji is in the show,
Cool.
who
Yeah.
he plays literally every single Indian character you've
Yes,
ever seen
I
on
know.
TV. You know, he was in Schitt's Creek, The Dictator. He has honestly been a mentor for me, so
Cool.
I'm super excited to be working with him. We're also working with Parvesh Cheena from The Outsourced. Really talented actors. Like, and that's particularly exciting too, right? Because we're getting to pick on the South Asian talent that has really pioneered this before us.
Yeah.
And that's something that in previous shows too, when we've performed with these actors, the audience first and foremost is like, it is so cool to see older seasoned actors on stage doing sketch. Because so often in LA,
Yeah.
you're seeing like young actors and fresh faces, which is awesome.
Yeah.
But it's like, here are more experienced actors still doing the thing and still really psyched to do it. And they steal the show every time.
Yeah.
You know what I
yeah.
mean?
Yeah.
So
Because
it's
they
so
have like
exciting.
so much presence.
Yeah.
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 Oh, that's
so,
so cool.
diversity truly across the board when it comes to ages and experiences and
That's cool.
backgrounds. So overall, just like
Yeah.
incredibly excited to take the stage and do that.
I want to go back to something you said
Yeah.
of when you started this, you didn't realize that this would turn into something else.
Mm-hmm.
Speaking of that,
Yeah.
we have something to tell you.
Oh God.
Yeah, I'm great at transitions.
Okay.
So,
Yeah. We feel kind of bad about this.
yeah,
Oh.
we feel kind of like we brought you on for a podcast about we're having a great conversation. Right
Yeah.
now. I think this is a good conversation.
I'm enjoying it.
But we are not who we say we are. We are secret agents, secret travel agents.
Okay.
For the National Tourism and Travel Office.
Also known as
Ntato.
Ntato.
I was about to say the NTO.
Yeah,
The
Ntato.
Ntato.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
My apologies.
No, it's none taken.
Yeah.
No offense taken.
No apologies.
No apologies taken.
I'm okay.
We're actually legally not allowed to take apologies.
Yeah, we're not allowed.
Understood.
Yeah, yeah,
Understood.
yeah.
That was my bad.
And we can't take that either.
Yeah, we
Right,
can take
right,
no
okay,
bads.
all right.
No my bads, please. As secret agents, we have secret travel agents. We do have secret travel agent names.
Okay.
My name is Secret Agent Sticky Toffee Pudding because that's my favorite dessert from the UK.
STP.
And I am
Yep.
Secret Agent Pannenkoeken because I am Dutch and Pannenkoeken is pancake in Dutch. They have a whole pancake thing going on.
Oh
Yeah.
my gosh. Yum.
Yeah.
And as secret travel agents, we have been tasked. We are still interns, so we're trying to build up
Unpaid.
unpaid. Yeah.
I'm so sorry
No,
about
it's
that.
okay.
No, we're actually really grateful for the
Yeah,
opportunity.
really
For
grateful for the
sure. No,
opportunity. At least we're doing
exposure.
something right now.
Yeah.
Exposure is great.
It's hard out there, so at least we're
Yeah.
being paid in exposure.
Yeah.
Absolutely. You do what you can. Hopefully you can meet some cool people. you know?
Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah.
And interrogate them. That's what we're. So that we're interrogating you.
Okay.
So
I'm ready for
We
it.
Yeah.
will interrogate you to figure out what your dream trip would be. We will
Yeah.
both then pitch you the dream trip, and we're competing for a promotion, or maybe
Yeah.
like to be the first intern who makes like $15.25 an hour.
Yeah.
Wow.
The
That would be
stakes are
crazy
actually really
good.
high. It would change my life.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That would be good.
Yeah. So then you at the end you would choose who has the better dream trip for you
Okay.
based on your answers.
Okay.
here.
I'll be honest.
Okay. Thank you.
Eventually. I
was
will.
like,
Yeah.
Anything else?
I will be honest,
Okay,
period.
good.
So,
Thank you.
Are you ready? Do we have your consent for this very brutal interrogation?
Consent is given.
Okay.
Interrogate me.
Great. So, what was the first trip that turned you on to travel?
Ooh, okay. Probably when I studied abroad. I think that was when I was like, oh, okay, I'm the cliche of the girl that studies abroad and is like, studied abroad changed my life.
I was her too.
Yeah, we all are.
Yeah.
It is built from some truth. And so if you have studied abroad, you know that is a thing. And if you haven't, then you laugh at it because you're not in on it yet. But I traveled to Europe in my sophomore year of college, and it was truly amazing. All around, the experience was great because the program essentially flew about 80 of us to the Netherlands.
Hell
Dutch.
yeah. Okay.
Dutch. And we stayed. So my college, Emerson, it has a 14th century medieval castle in a random village in the Netherlands.
They own their own castle?
They own a castle.
And did you stay at the
Wow.
castle?
And we stayed at the castle.
The Emerson Castle.
The Emerson Castle.
Oh my gosh. Where was it? Was it like outside of Amsterdam?
It was, yeah. So it was in a very small village called Well.
Okay.
Very, very tiny. I'm talking like in that town is the castle, a bar, a few houses, a grocery store, and a bakery.
That's
Perfect.
kind of all
That's
you need.
All you need.
Yeah, yeah.
All you need. So it was lovely.
Good bakery?
Great bakery.
Okay, good.
Great bakery. And there was like a little daycare too. I volunteered there. The little
Oh,
kids. I didn't know
cute.
any Dutch, so I just was like, yay, the whole time.
Yay, yay,
Yay,
yay.
Yay is
yay.
universal. Yeah.
Exactly.
How long were you at the castle?
3 months.
Oh,
Whoa, so
cool.
that must
Yeah.
have been so crazy because you're in such a contained
Yes.
space.
Yeah.
So it was kind of both, right? Because we took classes at the castle Monday through Thursday, and then over the weekends you could travel.
Incredible.
Yeah.
Any country that you wanted. So during the week you would just like meet up with other people at the castle and be like, where are you guys going this weekend? Oh yeah, I want to go to Paris too. Oh, you guys are going to Ireland? I'm going to hop onto that group too. And you just form these groups
Yeah.
and just life was just at your fingertips.
Yeah.
And it was amazing and free and great. And I actually met my college boyfriend while I was studying abroad. So I got to just study and travel Europe
And
with
be
my
in
boyfriend
love.
and be in
Oh my
love.
God, that's a
Wow.
dream.
Wait,
It was truly a dream.
Where were some of the highlight
Yeah.
excursions to?
Whew. I mean, Amsterdam was so fun.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Amsterdam
It's a cool
was
city.
an absolute blast.
Did you go to the Efteling,
No.
the theme park there?
No.
It's one of the first theme parks in the world.
Wait, there's a theme park
It's
in
a
Amsterdam?
fairy
I'll show you
theme.
what it looks like, 'cause
Yeah,
it's actually
it's
really
pretty cool.
We
Okay.
talk about
You've gotta
that
go
a
back.
lot.
No, truly, I've been
Yeah.
robbed of Amsterdam.
I know.
What? Unless I'm just blacking out. No.
It's like kind of spectacular.
Yeah.
No, that literally looks like Harry Potter world. What's happening?
But yeah, it's been around for like 100 years.
Okay, great. So I'm going back.
Yes.
Amazing. I mean, we still had a blast. Paris,
yeah.
Paris was
Yeah.
probably like the dream
Well,
trip.
to be in
Yeah.
love in Paris.
To be in love in Paris,
I
and it
know.
was raining too.
Oh
I was just
my
like,
God.
what did you
Young
guys do?
love
Paris in the rain.
Yeah. Oh,
it
yeah.
was amazing.
What did
Yeah.
you guys do while you were in Paris? Did you just do all the
Okay.
Yeah.
The
Speaking
cliche.
of theme parks, you guys.
Oh, Disney?
Disneyland
Paris.
Paris.
Okay. Are you a
Amazing
theme
day.
park girly or
A little bit.
Yeah,
You know,
okay.
I'm not
Okay.
like
You dabble.
I dabble.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
I'm not
I get
like
that. Yeah.
obsessed by any means, but I am always down for a fun day
Yeah.
trip, you know?
They're fun.
It's so
Exactly,
fun. And
yeah.
so Disneyland Paris was truly a dream come true. That was
Yeah.
like one of the best days of my life. So
Yeah.
Paris is absolutely a highlight. I did have so much fun in Ireland. We went to Dublin and we did like we saw the cliffs and we did
Yeah.
like a whole bus tour of like all around. I got to see everything like that. That's why I bring it up, honestly, in response to your question, because that was when it wasn't just like, oh, I'm traveling to a new place and it's so fun and now I'm going to forget about it and just move on and get excited for the next trip. It was like truly this is what it means to travel, to step into a different culture
Yeah.
and community and be surrounded by all of these people and not really feel like a tourist, but genuinely feel like, no, I'm living here right now and I'm just
Yeah.
bouncing around and I have friends that are keeping me grounded, but I'm also open to all of these new experiences that this specific place is going to bring me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's super cool.
Yeah.
How were you getting around? Train, cheap flights?
Cheap flights mostly.
Yeah.
But we did a few train trips, which was great as well. And that I think is the root of it too, right? Is like your independence of
Yes.
just being like, wait, I can just
jump
go
on this.
wherever I need. I
Yeah.
can just
You're
jump
like,
on this plane.
Wait, public transit? Like also
Yeah.
with the trains, you're like, oh, like trains are a mode of transportation, which
Yep.
like in
Yeah,
I feel
I
like
know.
I grew up in California. It's like
Oh.
that's just like not really a thing.
Yeah.
I mean, it is a thing, but not something that everybody
No,
uses.
no. And luckily I had some wherewithal because Boston highly
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
skilled with the
Yep.
tea.
Yep.
So I was like, okay,
It's a pretty
taking
good
this on.
system. Yeah.
It wasn't until I came to LA that I was like, oh, okay, so I won't be riding a train for
Yeah.
quite some
I
time.
do need to get my driver's license
Yeah.
now.
Yes, I do
Um,
need to purchase a car.
Uh,
Great.
Yeah.
Can I ask, where in the castle did you stay? Were you in like a turret? Were you like in the dungeons? Were you
Oh,
like
yes.
in the, yeah, like
So it's funny, the fitness center was actually in the dungeon. So when I tell you I went once,
yeah.
I was like, I actually can't do push-ups in here.
Yeah,
I won't
yeah.
be doing that. I wish I had a better room. Some people, so the castle was divided into like two different sections. There was the main castle, and then there was what was called VB, which stood for like what they were calling that section of the castle, and it was essentially the more lame one.
Okay.
It was
Wow.
like it looked kind of like college dorms. It wasn't as great,
okay.
but the main castle, like people had chandeliers in their rooms,
Oh my god.
and I was like, this is a microaggression.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
How is this like? Who put these rooms together? I was.
How do I
very
get into
upset.
the main castle?
Yeah, not cool, but overall fine. You
Was
know?
there like a sick dining hall and stuff, or like?
Yeah. The dining hall was also sort of like in an underneath section, so
Okay.
that was cool. Like it was such interesting architecture.
Did the meals float in?
I wish.
Okay.
Unfortunately, it was just a lot of not great food sometimes.
yeah.
You know, kind of like the dining hall.
I'm trying not to knock on my people, but like I don't think everybody like culinarily is like you've got to try Dutch food.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, it was also just a big shocker to us too, because it was like they would be like, "Do you want some peanut butter?" And I'd be like, "Oh my gosh, yes, peanut butter." And I'm like, "Oh, this isn't American peanut butter.
No.
Where's the sugar?
Oh,
Where is every processed thing that you put into my usual peanut butter? This tastes healthy. I couldn't do it.
How dare you?
How
Wow.
dare you? This tastes grainy."
I mean, that's I grew
You're
up in
talking to
Portland.
the wrong person,
I grew up
yeah.
in Portland. That was my peanut butter.
Yeah. And trust me,
so-
I got used to it.
Okay, good,
I came back
good.
to America and I was like, this is candy.
I also
Crazy.
feel like in the Netherlands, though, like I don't know what your breakfast looks like, but like when I stay with my family over there, it's like I talk about it, but Dutch breakfast is
it's
one of my
pretty fun.
favorites because it's just like fresh bread, a ton of different cheeses,
Yeah.
and like it's just like bread cheese party.
Yeah.
Yep, that's
yeah.
a great way to describe it. I will give credit to the Stroop waffles.
Yes.
Okay, yeah.
One a day. That's what I was doing.
Yeah.
And it was amazing, and that kept me fueled.
Yeah.
You're like,
Yeah.
I can't trust peanut butter, so we're going stroopwafel now.
100%.
Ooh, did you ever try putting peanut butter on a stroopwafel?
Oh my god, that's too much.
I
No, I
don't
wanna
think so.
do
I
that.
definitely
I'm
put a
gonna do
lot
that
of them
next
on
time.
rice cakes, though.
Yeah.
Tons of rice
Yeah.
cakes. That was always the go-to if you just needed something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so I mean, this already sounds like the best trip.
So
but
nice.
Tell us a story. If it's part of this or a different trip.
Yeah.
Tell us a story about your best trip.
Ooh. You know, actually, I just most recently took a really beautiful trip to Italy
Oh, cool.
for a wedding. And that
Everybody's
was
getting married there.
I know.
It's crazy.
Cause,
Yeah.
Well, it's because like they have these gorgeous villas,
Yeah.
in like Tuscany.
Yep.
And it's cheaper than doing
Yeah.
a wedding here.
Is it
like
really?
rental
It
wise?
is.
Yeah, the villas are super cheap. So
Yeah.
it's like most of the pay is coming from the flight, which you can offload on your friend and family.
Oh, and let me tell you, we found a very cheap round trip flight,
Ooh.
but we paid for it.
Yeah.
We paid for it in other ways.
Oh,
Yeah,
like your
yeah,
like
yeah.
24-hour layover.
Yep,
kind
we
of.
like
yeah.
crossed Italy first to have our layover in Istanbul. Like
Okay, yeah.
we just literally went over.
Yeah,
and
you're
that
looking out
flight
like,
was
"Can I just
miserable."
hop out,
Yep,
right? Yeah.
awful. And then the layover was super long and terrible, and then we had to
Yeah.
fly back, and then it was another bus, and then it was another train, and then it was another bus. It was such terrible travel to begin with that I got sick the first day.
no.
I was just like, I feel terrible. I was like nauseous, and I had a headache and everything. Luckily, I shook it right off.
Okay, because this is your best trip.
Yeah.
yes.
But
I
other
didn't
than
say.
that,
I said
no.
best. Yeah, I said best. Okay.
Absolutely. And truly, I think it became the best because of how low it started.
Yeah,
and then
yeah.
it just skyrocketed because we had such a blast at the wedding. I believe the villa that we had stayed at was Montepulciano. Who
Yeah,
knows?
yeah.
Who
I
knows?
buy
Yeah,
it,
I know
buy
that.
it.
You
Yeah,
know,
yeah, yeah.
you guys have been there.
Yeah.
So
love-
beautiful, just like beautiful views, beautiful weather. The wedding was so fun. I love a
Yeah.
wedding. And then the great thing was right after that, we had gotten a group of friends that were at the wedding, and we all traveled around, and we did
wow.
like
Yes.
a trip around Italy, and just had the best time.
You
ever.
like group travel. I'm sensing like a theme here, like friends and like going
Yeah.
off. Yeah.
Yeah.
So you went all over Italy?
Pretty much, yeah. We did a
Okay.
few stops, just like around. We stayed at like some Airbnbs and
Yeah.
just like really like again immersed ourselves in it. Like we weren't really going to like these hot tourist spots, but really we're just going to places where we could just be surrounded by people that didn't even speak English anymore.
Yeah.
We were just like, let's really get into it. And I loved the group that we went to too, because immediately like all of us were like, let's also not speak English. Like let's get our Google Translate out and like let's do this. And that was so fun
great.
too.
Yeah.
It just is a great way to really like almost like let go of where you're coming from and just be like, I am here, I am present, and I'm imagining that this is like the daily life that I'm living.
Yeah.
So fun.
Yeah, that's the best. That's my favorite way to travel, is just to like drop in there, not necessarily have things to do every day, just kind of be there.
Just be there.
I love also like working in a place, you know, like, because then like, you know, if like I'm producing something abroad, like then you get to see another side and you get to be a part of the culture in a different way.
Which is such a
Yeah.
dream. I am truly manifesting that for myself.
Yeah.
It's like I am craving that life of filming something
Yeah.
and truly anywhere. I don't even
Yeah.
need to be overseas. I'm like, get me to New York for 3 months. How fun would
Yeah,
that be?
yeah.
I just think it would be just a great opportunity. You're right, to
The-
work somewhere else.
I am so jealous of White Lotus
Oh,
just for going off for 7 months in a place and doing something like, you know, working on a project and like being a part, you know, because I'm sure, you know, they're staying at a fancy resort. It's like, you know, they are separate, but there are chances to, kind of like dip in and kind of live a life there.
Totally. I mean, and especially if you're, you know, starring in something, if you're not on set every day, the day's off.
Yeah.
You're just like, okay,
Yeah.
hopefully they give me some per diem.
Yeah.
And I'm just traveling around and
Yep.
doing my own thing. Like that's the dream.
Yeah.
That's I'm manifesting it.
Yeah.
It's coming for us.
Yeah.
Yeah. I would say that's the best trip, I think, overall. And,
Yeah.
and specifically where we had gone, I think that was my favorite spot, was Tropea, which is famous for like the red onion.
Oh, did you eat any good red onion dishes?
So much. Constantly was putting it
what
on
are some-
pizzas.
okay, yeah.
They even had red onion gelato, which honestly I
Whoa.
can't recommend.
Okay,
Not
that's fair.
good. Not good. But
Yeah,
you know,
they got to take the swing.
Yep.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
They had to try it.
Yeah.
And we have to try it too. You
Yes,
know, that's
I
the
know.
fun part of being like, this is their specialty. I'm going all in on it.
Yeah.
Like, just nothing but good memories.
Well, that's one of the things I love about Italy. Places like Italy is like so many different regions have their special food.
yes.
That really, you know, they you know, like there's the pesto, you know, Umbria, I think it is, where pesto was started, and like
Wow.
you can get all sorts of pestos there. But yeah, so like red onion, it's just like, were they pickling it? Were they just like putting it raw on things, sauteing it on everything? Like
It certainly seemed sauteed because it was truly delicious. Like I
Okay.
was picking it off of my pizza and being like, this is amazing.
so was it like caramelized?
I think so.
Okay.
Honestly, like I have no idea what they were doing.
Yeah.
Again, the reason I think we didn't like it in the gelato was just because it was such a different flavor. It
Yeah.
wasn't that it wasn't made well, you know?
Yeah.
So if you really were in on the taste of it, I think you could have enjoyed the gelato.
Was
Yeah.
that the most inventive use of the red onion you saw?
I think so. I want to say that there was like a like an espresso that was like that had like flavorings of it in it.
Whoa.
Very interesting. Which was another thing that I had learned as well. Like I think it was like it is normal to order like a cappuccino or something like much later in the day. Am I mixing that up?
Opposite.
Opposite.
I think
Only in the mornings.
cappuccinos only in the mornings.
Only in the mornings, yeah.
And then you're done with breakfast. Done
You have
with
a milk
Right.
morning.
Yeah.
And then they had like a siesta.
Yeah.
So in like the afternoon, everything would close down and it would open back up in the evening,
Yeah.
which was awesome. And like tips, not a thing. They
Yeah.
were like, do not
Yeah.
tip, which I was like, thank goodness.
Yes.
Like this is freedom for all of us.
Yeah.
So that was also just lovely.
Well,
I know, we
yeah.
gotta make it out there. Oh, well, speaking of,
Yeah,
so
I
what's
know.
the tastiest thing you've eaten on a trip? And do you usually seek food out when you're
Yeah. Are
traveling?
you a food based?
Okay. You know, I'm now going to boldly say I used to be a picky eater.
Oh,
I know.
Did travel?
Thank you for saying that.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Thank you
yeah,
for
yeah.
admitting this.
Uh-huh.
Did travel cure you? of
Honestly,
picky eating?
travel kind of didn't really have anything to
Okay,
do with it.
okay,
But
fair.
now I am excited to travel more
Yeah.
because of the newer things that I've been trying. I used to just be so like, that looks weird, that smells weird,
Yeah.
that like that feels weird.
You're like, I only want peanut butter on rice cake.
Right. I was like stroopwafel a day and that's it. But now I've become more like, you know what? I just need to try more things. I used to be completely against all seafood, and now I love seafood. And it's so exciting to
Do you
be
think
in
it
that.
was just age or like just a hyper judgment on food, or like do you think your palate literally changed, or do you think you just found like more joyful experiences that made you like, oh wait, trying new things is fun?
That definitely I relate to the most, that it is more of a fun experience. But growing up, I think it's because my household did not expand past Indian food. That was really all that we ate and enjoyed. My family was not one for like going out to eat. And if we were, it was for Indian food still.
Yeah.
So that was mostly what I had eaten. And even inside of that, I had only picked like specific dishes that I knew. And my mom was the cook. So she would always like make exactly what I wanted. She would know what like it was just curated for me.
Yeah.
So then when I went to college, I remember truly being like, what do I eat? Like, I don't know how to do this by myself. Like, I was at the dining hall being like, I guess I'll get a mug of milk. Like, what do I do? I'm so confused. And now that I'm into my adult life now, I have explored, I've brought in new dishes, I have different cuisines that I enjoy, and I'm just now expanding that. So I think on another take, if I were to do a large travel itinerary, I think that it would include a lot of different foods. I would love to try that. Yeah.
I love that.
Yeah.
So what is the tastiest thing you've had on a trip?
Let's see. I feel like I'm cheating if I say dessert because that is
that's
immediately
not a
what I
cheat.
think
Yep.
of.
No, please.
Like
Yep.
like crepes.
Oh.
That
Crepes.
is a hot
Yeah.
take.
Oh.
Really?
Because, well, it's a hot take for me because personally I feel like crepes are always sort of like mid. But that's probably because I haven't had a good crepe.
Yeah, you haven't. You mostly get them here in America.
Yeah, that's true.
I think the crepe stands at like a ski resort kind of place.
Yeah.
They don't need to do much because like they're not as good. Crepes.
I'm always only getting crepes at ski resorts.
Yeah, I know. Yeah.
Like muffin or coffee? Crepe.
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 Actually,
Yeah.
I'll go with the crepe.
Yeah.
Wait, so where were you getting these crepes at that were so good? Was it in Italy?
I got tons of
France.
crepes, you guys.
Oh,
I'm
France.
a big dessert girly.
Uh-huh.
So
Yeah.
I got, I remember crepes in Paris. I
Yeah.
remember crepes in Dublin. And I remember crepes in Amsterdam.
Okay.
I remember specifically just like sitting down at a restaurant and just being like, I'm traveling and I'm going to order a crepe and that's going to be my entree. And that's that. And just getting like Nutella and strawberries and just being like, this is the peak of life.
Do you like savory crepes?
I don't really.
Oh, that I love. Like that was one of the things that I discovered in France was like cheese and egg crepes. So good.
Okay, see, I haven't actually tried that. I think that's what it is. It's not that I don't like them. I see chocolate and I'm like, duh.
Yeah,
Why
no,
wouldn't
yeah.
I get that? Yeah.
Well,
Why would
but
I
this
put
way
eggs in my
you
crepe?
can have a crepe entree and then a crepe dessert.
Now you're thinking.
Yes.
Absolutely,
I'm
yes.
finally thinking.
You're finally thinking. And that's the BOGO. Buy one,
yeah,
get one.
Exactly.
Crepes.
So what's your favorite filling? Have you ever tried the lemon sugar? I never get those, but that seems like
I don't think so.
the
You talk
standard
about
at so
them
many
a lot
places. I know,
For
but
never getting them.
do I talk about them a
Yum.
lot?
If crepes come up, you will guaranteed mention the lemon
Lemon
sugar
sugar?
crepe.
Let's get a compilation
I
of
feel
every
like-
time.
I
Yeah,
know.
please. That is so funny.
I feel like this is the first time I've talked about it. I must be blacking out every time I
Right.
talk about crepes.
For me, it's like Nutella. Nutella
Yeah,
is the
that's-
go-to.
yeah.
Put
Yep.
that shit in there
Yeah.
every single time. Strawberries, bananas,
Yeah.
like fruit mixed in with that. That's a cheat to just be like, this is healthy.
Yep.
I'm getting my fruit in. Duh.
This
Yeah, you are.
is savory, I guess.
yeah, because I put bananas in them.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's hard to veer away from Nutella crepes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
and I think this is part of Rachel's issue.
Crepes
Oh.
are how I figured out I'm allergic to Nutella.
Oh, yeah. I
Arasha's
know.
covering her
I
mouth
know.
more.
I'm truly speechless.
Yeah, so I was really excited because I learned a recipe for Dutch crepes, basically with really easy proportions. So I was making those at home repeatedly, putting Nutella on them repeatedly, and being like, it's crazy. I feel sick every time I eat one of these. But every time I'd be like, but I know Nutella's supposed to be good. So I keep doing it and keep getting sick. So
Shoot.
She has
So
a
it's like hazelnut.
hazelnut,
Yeah.
yeah.
it's hazelnut. Yeah.
She grew up on an almond farm, so she's kind of got
allergic to the competition.
Yeah.
Wait, that is so interesting. An almond farm.
Yeah.
Huh.
That's not this podcast.
Okay, but
We're
I
not-
need to hear more about that.
Anytime you want to hear about an almond farm.
We've got
Wow.
some almonds from the farm in the freezer.
Actually,
you
yeah,
can
if you
try.
wanna
yeah,
try some.
Yes, I
yeah.
absolutely do. Wow. That's nuts.
Ha.
Okay, Arasha.
Yes.
What tourist attraction have you visited that lived up to the hype? So often we go and we're like, yeah, okay, I guess.
And you
The
said
Mona
you're
Lisa's
not
so
big
small.
on tourist attractions.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's okay if there hasn't been one.
No, honestly, the first one that's coming to mind is, of course, the Eiffel Tower.
Yeah,
Which, this is hard because I told you guys the layer that I have over is that I was visiting with my boyfriend at the time.
Yeah,
so
yeah,
obviously I was
yeah.
like, Paris,
Yeah.
I love it.
but that's how that's part of the
Part of the
experience.
attraction is who
yeah.
you experience it with.
Yeah.
'Cause
Wow.
maybe it's the feeling of being, I'm Paris, I'm in love, and I'm looking at the Eiffel Tower.
Yeah.
I think
Like,
so. And I remember we took the stairs. We literally climbed up the
to
whole way.
yeah,
Yeah,
wow,
which was
okay.
terrible, which was
Yeah,
awful.
That's exhausting.
But I
a
do
lot.
remember being at the top and being like, okay, I'm at the top of the Eiffel Tower right now.
Yeah.
And I'm with this man that I love, and it was very magical.
yeah,
So,
yeah, like you're like, this
unfortunately,
is
yeah.
my movie moment.
Yeah. And again, I knew that everybody was going to hate on the Eiffel Tower, as they always do, but I loved it. I absolutely loved it. And at night too, with when it was sparkling, I was like,
yeah. That is really cool.
I'm
when
like,
it
this is
sparkles
the Eiffel
like that.
Tower.
Yeah.
I think sometimes it's so easy to hate on everything that people love. And that goes all the way back to when I was studying abroad.
Yeah.
That's so funny that we hate when, or, we hate on people that are studying abroad changed my life. But that's rooted in something that was very meaningful to those
Yeah.
people.
I think about that a lot, where it's like, why are we hating on people for being earnest and liking things?
Yes.
Yeah.
Like, what's
Yeah.
so awful about that? Like,
Yeah.
somebody who's just genuinely joyful and happy to be there.
Completely.
You know?
Yeah.
Completely. Because it's maybe the quote unquote cool thing to do, to be different, or to be that's so cringy.
Yeah.
It's like, well, you go to the Eiffel Tower.
I know. I feel like the older I get, the more I have so much appreciation for people who love everything.
Yeah.
Because I'm
Yeah.
like, ultimately, that's still, I think people who hate everything think they're thinking critically. But I think it's kind of lazy thinking a little bit. Whereas
Yeah.
when people are like, I like everything and here's why I like each of these things, I'm like, you're actually critically thinking in a lovely direction. Which
True.
is
Yeah.
what I would like to be more like.
Yeah. You're so right. Because it's actually easier to just be like, I don't like it.
Yeah.
Yeah, even with movies, I think that's where I noticed it the most, where I'm like, oh, I'm actually really impressed by people who can find a reason to like or celebrate anything.
It exists for some reason, right? Or it was created for something. Somebody saw something in it. And for that reason, to get curious and be like, why is this movie rated so high by so many people?
Yeah.
Why is it? What is it that other people see in it? Why did the Eiffel Tower get all of this love and attention? Clearly it means something.
So the reason why
Yeah.
Garrett's cringing over here is
You hate it.
No. Well.
well,
okay. No.
here's what happened.
Here's the
we
story.
once went to Paris.
Okay.
And I wanted to see the Eiffel Tower because I was like, I know it's touristy, but I just really want to see it because I've never seen
So
it.
I took her to my favorite view of the Eiffel Tower.
But Garrett was
up
like-
on the steps of Sacré-Cœur.
Okay.
That's my favorite spot to see the Eiffel Tower.
Sure.
But Garrett was very much like, the Eiffel Tower isn't actually that great. This view of it's good, but if we were ever up close to it, it's not that cool. It kind of sucks. And I was like,
I wasn't like that. I wasn't like
Garrett
that
can
much.
be Garrett can be a little bit of
An edgelord.
and an edgelord in regard to doing the very touristy things.
I don't know. I agree that like it's cool to go to the touristy things, and I think it's good to see them. I also I don't know, there's something like I was in Delhi and I didn't go to the Taj Mahal. I was in India for 3 months, didn't go to the Taj Mahal.
There's
Okay.
some part of
Like,
you that
there's-
just can't bear to do what everybody likes.
Yeah, and I don't like
Interesting.
that. I don't like that instinct. Part of it is also like the crowds, the like I wanted to see. I like the Eiffel Tower from a distance.
Sure.
I think it's a beautiful thing to see on the skyline. To see, and it's not even the steps of Sakura. You have to go to a side, but yeah.
I'll say I think Garrett just doesn't like feeling like a tourist when he is one.
Yes,
You know what I
yes.
mean? Like Garrett's like in
Yeah.
denial. Like he also likes the
Yes.
feeling of being like, I'm one with this city. I'm one with this new place.
Yeah.
And then when
And
I'm,
I think
yeah.
I'm kind of just like, I'm a tourist. I want to see what everybody sees.
Yeah.
Arasha, you know what we did instead? We waited for 3 hours in the rain to
Four.
meet up. 4 hours in the rain to meet up to get dinner with Garrett's ex.
Oh.
Instead of walking to the Eiffel Tower.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Oh my God. Okay,
Yeah,
we
yeah,
need
yeah.
to
It
break
was
that
really
down.
bad. It was really
Why
bad.
were we seeing your ex?
It just so happened that her and another friend of ours was in Paris that same like time, and it was like, whoa, this is crazy. Like Rachel knew the ex as well,
Okay.
and the ex's friend, and I was like, oh well, yeah, we should see the ex, and we should see like our friend who was also
Who
with it.
we weren't that close with.
Yeah, but it was kind of cool. Like, oh, here's people in Paris with let's go out to dinner with them.
Yeah.
And they were like super late. It was pouring rain.
So we
So
were
it's-
just standing under an awning as it's pouring rain. And
And it was like
Garrett's-
the sunken cost. We were just like, oh, they're going to be here. They showed up 4 hours later.
No.
And like
pretty romantic, huh?
the friend was so apologetic.
Garrett's ex was not.
Was not.
Did not apologize once.
Yeah.
And was the reason they were 4 hours
Yeah.
late.
The friend was like livid. It was not a highlight, not
Okay.
a shining moment for me.
But you know what? Like, that's also an awesome story.
Thank you.
I tell it every chance I get.
Yeah,
and then
yeah.
It's like the tag to the roast to my funeral.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
That's Rachel
yeah.
telling that story.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
See, it makes for a great story, and that's truly what I think it is.
Yeah.
Is like wherever you can find a good tale, whatever
Yes,
is
exactly.
interesting.
And that's what comes out of
my
travel.
mom
Yeah.
calls it type 2 fun, which is like it was shitty in the moment, but looking back, you're like, wow, we really lived a story.
100%. 100%. It's like when you're like reading a memoir and you're like reading through somebody talking about the really hard times, but when they're saying it, they're like, yeah, that was a rough time for me. And it's almost like romanticized
Yeah.
because you're not actually actively in it. So it doesn't feel that deep. So looking back, it is fun. It's
Yeah.
funny.
Yeah, it's funny. Although
It's funny. and now now we have to go back to Paris.
You standing on the Eiffel Tower sounds pretty fun as well, though.
Yeah.
That was also fun. See, I will truly just I think the tourist in me is just that I want a fun story. I want stories to tell.
Yeah.
I want to feel
Same.
young. I really want to I want to embrace my youth. And if that
Yeah,
means
I know that
standing on the
feeling.
Eiffel
Yeah.
Tower and kissing my college boyfriend to just be like, this is what I did. I just
Yeah.
want that.
I just love
Yeah, I
you
get
screaming,
that.
I'm
I'm
young.
young, I promise.
But I think that is true that like I always feel kind of weird about trips where nothing bad happened.
Yeah.
Where you're sort of like, yeah, that was really fun, but it didn't quite have the texture. Like even
Yeah.
with your Italian trip, like the fact that the first chunk wasn't great.
Yep.
Yeah.
You're like, oh good, I lived fully because there were
Exactly.
ups and downs.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So start a fight on your trip.
Garrett's one of Garrett's aunts says she always would break up with people while she was internationally traveling. She's like,
Ruthless.
I
Yes.
broke up with a Laker in Paris once.
Yes, she was a model. She dated a Laker. They went to Paris, and her intention was to like break up with him there. And she's like, it's like, how can you be miserable in such a beautiful place while traveling? And like, I've broken up and traveled at the same, and it is like an interesting way to break up.
Oh
because
my God.
like you are in this amazing place. There's so much stimulus coming at you.
Yeah.
And then it was when I was in India, and then I got sick, and then it all like the breakup hit me.
The Giardia hit you.
And along with the Giardia, and then like so I was just like on the toilet sobbing like for a week.
Wow.
But like it is like an interesting way to do a break.
Oh yeah, no, iconic of your grandmother actually.
Yeah, well, this is my mom's cousin who like just lives a life.
She's always
Okay,
yelling,
diva.
"I'm young." Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Wow.
So, what has been your biggest fish out of water moment while you've been traveling?
Like the kind of most out of body experience.
It can be out of body or where you're just like, wow, I really don't feel like I belong here,
or like this, or like that moment where like this next step, I'll be the furthest away from the Shire I've ever been.
You know,
if you understand Lord of the Rings.
If you understand Lord of the Rings.
Unfortunately don't, but I can pretend that I do.
Wow.
I'm sorry.
Okay.
We're still friends.
Yeah.
I'm young. You know, it's funny actually. Maybe I'm thinking about this just because you just talked about your trip to India, but I was actually born in India. I was born in Hyderabad, and then my family immigrated to Texas when I was a baby. And the first time that I went back to India was when I was in, I think it was early high school. And the weirdest thing is that I felt like I did not belong there.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Though it was the motherland. That was the first time that I was truly very culture shocked. I remember like looking around and just being like, I am actually on a different planet. I felt like I was super different. I got food poisoning while I was out there. I was very, I think, reluctant to a lot around me. I wasn't very open to anything.
Yeah.
I was very judgy, and truly I felt like I did not want to be there at all. I didn't have that much that I was like wanting to go back to. I wasn't like incredibly happy in my life in San Antonio. I was in high school. But I mean,
it sounds like you were unhappy, period.
I was just
like, but then like
Nope.
put you in a place you don't like, you're not prepared to be, and it's like it gets magnified.
100%. Like I was meeting family members that I didn't know, and I was just in, you know, I think a much more privileged headspace.
Yeah.
I wanted my life that I was very comfortable in America, and being in India was just very off-putting to me at the moment. So it's very strange that though it is the place where I came from, I did not feel like I belonged.
Before you went there, were you excited, or were you like expecting to like get there and be like, I'm home, or like I've arrived, or like did you have that perception, so then like because it didn't meet your expectations it was like even more kind of like off-putting almost?
I think so. I think I don't know what I was expecting, but I certainly did not know what I walked into, and that was certainly stunning to me. You know?
Yeah. Was there like a particular moment that stands out, like eating some like food where you're like, this isn't my mom's? Or
For me, it was bathing. The bathroom in which we like first were housed, like it was like my grandparents' like old house that like I think we had grown up in at some point or something like that. But I remember going into the bathroom and it was like this like shower nozzle coming out the top, and then the toilet was just a hole in the ground. And I was like, no, I'm not doing that. Absolutely not. The story that I've told before on the internet is that actually was the longest that I had gone without pooping.
Yep.
I didn't poop, I think, for 8 days.
Wow.
And I was incredibly sick because
impressive.
of that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. I held it. I was like, I'm not doing it. And it was terrible. It made for an awful, awful experience later.
Oh, yeah.
So I think I don't think I was quite ready for what the experiences would be. And because of that, I was very harsh with what it was. I was like, this is dirty. This isn't enough for me. I need more. And I was just kind of bratty about it, you know?
Yeah.
And it's interesting because then when I went back, the second time that I had visited was actually more recently. It was in 2022.
Oh, nice. Okay.
And I only had gone for a week. I remember my cousin was getting married, but I couldn't actually stay for the ceremony because I was filming something here. But I just visited for a week. And this time I knew what to expect.
Yeah.
I knew what I was walking into. And I opened my arms to it. I just knew what the homes would look like, and I knew what the air would smell like, and I knew the people that I was going to visit. And so therefore it was not bad at all. It was full of love and culture. And it's funny, my brother loves India.
Yeah.
He would love to live there, you know, and he has for a little bit as well. So it's clearly that it's not that it's a bad place by any means.
Right.
It's just, you know, you have to really find your place in it.
Yeah.
And then you can truly see the beauty that lies there.
I had a similar kind of thing. Like my first day in India, I was in Siliguri up in the north, going to Darjeeling.
Sure.
I was in such a shock. I did not leave my hotel room for like 2 days.
Yeah.
And I was just like, what have I gotten myself into?
Yeah.
And I flew one way, you know, I didn't have a ticket back.
Wow.
And then near the end, my sister came out to visit me for 2 weeks. We went back into Siliguri, and it was like a completely different place to me.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it was just like, oh, I love this place.
Yeah.
Like this is a you know, like it's not a touristy spot. It's like the gateway to Darjeeling, and it's like, I don't know. I had fun there.
Totally.
It feels like kind of like the advice on like go on more second dates,
Yeah.
you know, where it's like,
I like that.
like
With
you
India.
didn't like the place the first time, but
Yeah.
it's like maybe you'll like it the second time around. It'll resonate differently. Like, yeah, but I also relate to the feeling, and we've talked to quite a few people on the podcast who do have that experience of like, you know, like my family immigrated from the Netherlands, like my Oma and Opa did. And so when I went there, I was expecting to feel this feeling of like magical connection. And it's always so weird for me that I'm like, there's no magic here though.
Right.
And people who aren't from the Netherlands love it more than I do. And I'm like, man, I can't even connect to this place that other people clearly love, you
Truly.
know?
No, and that's such a real thing too. Like I have found very many attachments with every other place that I've gone to, you know, other than India and even other than Texas, you know, like I said, I went to school in Boston. And I truly feel like a Boston girl. I'm like, oh my gosh, Massachusetts, like that's my home. And I was there for 4 years, you know? I have an attachment to the Netherlands. Even though I was there for 3 months, I'm like, oh, no. The Netherlands has a special place in my heart, you know?
Yeah.
It's so interesting that it isn't actually like maybe where you do originate from, but it's the feelings that you have there or the development that you go through when you are there.
Yeah.
I think we talk about like one, like just like I think everybody has like a different sort of sense of like what is magic to them or not. Like, because for me, Edinburgh was a very magical place, or like pretty much everywhere in South America for me is going to hit to some extent. But I also think too, it's like that the places you go that you don't have like a tie to, you go in with no expectations. So then it's inherently going to be this like wonderful surprise. But when you're going to India or like going to the Netherlands, for me, it's like I had put so many expectations on it to be magical that it just maybe inherently couldn't be.
I think that is actually a flaw inherently in me, that I have so many expectations. I constantly, I mean, Arasha actually means expectations.
Really?
Yeah.
That's beautiful.
Wow.
I love that.
Truly. My parents were like, let's name her Expectations. Isn't that crazy? So truly, I think that I feel that in every sense of my life. And it is so true that expectations are ultimately always going to lead to disappointment.
Yeah.
Like you cannot expect anything. It is never going to be what you think it is in your head, no matter what it is.
Man, what an incredible irony.
Right. Still trying to make it a strength somehow.
Yeah, you will.
And we're on our way there.
Yes, we're on our way.
Arasha.
Yes.
If you could step into any moment from your travels anytime you wished, which quintessential perfect moment would you pick?
I swear to God, if it's being on the Eiffel Tower.
yeah.
Please,
The Eiffel
please.
Tower.
Any other, please.
Let's think. Oh God, there were so many special moments.
I mean, you don't have to choose just one.
Yeah, I want to go to where do I want to plant myself? You know, I had brought up Ireland, I think, and definitely like a moment that I'll always remember. Because, you know, when you're traveling, I think you have these like, I'm always going to remember these moments, you know? And one was definitely at the Cliffs of Moher.
Yeah.
I remember just like being over that view. And it's like when you really are at, I guess you would refer to that as also like a tourist attraction,
Yeah,
you know?
yeah.
But when you are at these like very breathtaking views, for me, it's just a moment of like, this exists in the world, and all the other crazy drama and bullshit that we're all dealing with as like humans with each other also exists. And it suddenly feels like that doesn't matter. It's like, actually, the world is just about nature. The world is just
Yeah.
about these views and the beauty of what our world holds. And it all just kind of feels like nonsense
Yeah.
in a way. So that moment, I think, really grounded me, because I remember, obviously, I was confused and I was going through lots of different things as I was just kind of in the middle of my college experience, and I was on this journey of self. But I remember that moment of just being like, I'm with friends. I don't know if I'll still be with these friends for like the rest of my life. Like, they're just the group that I'm kind of traveling with right now, but nothing else really matters.
Yeah.
So it was a really good present moment for me. And those are really few and far in between these days when you don't really have an opportunity to just sit with yourself. So that would be a really great spot that I wish I could just keep transporting back to when it all feels like a little too much, I think.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What about you guys?
Oh my
Our
gosh.
quintess. Oh my.
What's your moment that you would like flash back to in a trip?
Oh crap.
I mean, the one that always comes to mind for me, like, it's another India moment.
Yeah,
but like,
yeah.
I was in Darjeeling, the day they voted for the states. What's that? West Bengal? I can't remember the state. Darjeeling's off the top of my head. But for the governor who wanted to secede from the state,
Okay.
at least, and like form their own state, and it was a big party, and it was just everybody was on this mountaintop dancing, music was blasting, and just views of the Himalayas. Dance party outside. It was incredible.
Wow.
It was like, it was like a perfect moment. And
Yeah.
that's the one that I always flash to. Like, just because it was just pure joy. And it was early in my trip, and it was just like, it was kind of probably the moment, because like in Darjeeling, I was kind of like, I was traveling by myself, and I was just kind of like, I don't know what I'm doing. What is this trip that I'm going on? I had just come from Japan, which was a very different experience.
Wow.
And like, and that was where it was kind of like, oh, this is great.
Totally.
This trip is going to be
And
fun.
that's usually a sign, right? Of like when you're present and you're in the moment, but then you have a second of like, wait, this is crazy that I'm in this moment right now. Yeah. What about you, Rachel?
I think it's funny. I've been shitting on type 2 fun lately because I just did this 50-mile race with my mom because she's like loves doing hard things. And I'm like, I like doing fun things.
Right.
But then all the quintessential moments were like kind of like coming up for me like weird times, but I think like emotionally resonant times. So one that comes to mind is my sister and I did the Salcante Trail in Peru together.
Oh, wow.
And it was like our first like really big sister trip. And the whole time we had been like kind of struggling to get on the same wavelength because I was like in LA and she was in Seattle, and we were just like having trouble syncing the whole trip. And I think we were both kind of thrown off by that, where we are like, this was supposed to be like sister trip.
Yeah.
And then on the last day, our flight got delayed, which ended up being great because I got food poisoning the same day. So I was like throwing up in the airport, and I was like, I don't know how I'm going to do the flight back to LA. So they put us up, so the flight was miraculously canceled, and the airport put us up in this like 4-star hotel And it was very strange because like they're like, you have like free passes to the buffet. And I couldn't even eat at the buffet because of my food poisoning. But we went down. I watched Emma eat, and there was like a Moana themed buffet for like a kid's birthday party.
Shut up.
So all of it was like Moana themed in this Peruvian like hotel, and then
Lit.
yeah, young.
Yes. Yes.
So then, actually, young would be the theme because then Emma and I went back to the hotel room. And they happened to be playing Say Yes to the Dress, which was like our favorite show to watch during the summers whenever I was home from college and she was still in high school. And so we had this like awesome day of just like hanging out at this hotel and like watching Say Yes to the Dress. And we finally like, I think because of that nostalgia, we're like able to sync up. It was like the Hail Mary, like last minute we connected and like the worst of like potentially the worst of circumstances, but it was like the best. So I think that was like a pretty quintessential moment.
I love that. I love that because it doesn't have to be extravagant to be really special.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So
Wow.
yeah.
So special.
Very special.
Love it.
So Arasha, is there a local custom you've observed while traveling that you've implemented or wish you've implemented into your daily life? Say like caramelized red onion on everything now. Or
Yeah. Oh gosh. Okay, this I guess popped up in my head when I was in Italy. I remember there was one point at the table and I was sort of feeling a little sick still. Mm-hmm. And so my entire party around me had gotten some wine and I was like, I'm going to stick to water. Mm-hmm. And we were doing a cheers and the waiter ran over and he was like, no cheersing with water.
Yeah.
That is bad luck.
he like batted it
like
out of your
threw my
hand.
water and I was like, all right, fuck me, I guess.
Yeah.
And I have thought about that now. Every time I'm at the table and I'm drinking water, if other people have other drinks around and they're cheersing, I'll contribute with a nod.
Yeah.
I will be like, I'm with you guys. But
Are
I'm
you
not living that.
superstitious at all? Or?
I mean, I have OCD, so so yeah, very much so.
Superstitious, OCD.
Yeah, so I'd like to keep all the people in my life.
Yeah.
Incredible.
I have a similar one where, ever since my first trip to Europe, when I cheers, I make eye contact.
Oh.
Eye contact.
Oh, that's
when you
intimate.
Cheers. Yeah.
Yeah. And what does that do for the person that you're looking at?
You're just supposed to do it.
Yeah, well, the other person usually is like, what? Oh.
Right.
But my sister makes exaggerated eye contact with me.
Oh, that's awesome.
But yeah.
Yeah.
I can't remember what country I picked that up from. But
maybe it's that you're like bonded for life now with that person.
Yeah. I can't remember if
you
it's
send goodwill through your eyes.
Yeah, through your eyes.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
So, Arasha, we have one last round of questions. It's a lightning round.
Okay.
And then after that, we're going to take a short break to tabulate your dream trips.
Okay.
And yeah, so it'll be like a 10-minute stop down. But
okay.
Are you ready for the lightning round?
Let's do it.
So just the first one that comes to your mind, the answer.
Okay.
Okay. That's going to be either ors.
All right.
Beach or mountains?
Mountains.
Coffee or tea?
Coffee.
Hot or cold?
Hot.
City or country?
City.
Beer or wine?
Wine.
History or modern?
Modern.
Clubs or cafes?
Cafes.
Early bird or night owl?
Night owl.
Fancy or casual?
Fancy.
Fast or slow?
Fast.
Dogs or cats or cows or monkeys?
Monkeys?
Okay.
All right. This is all very good information.
Okay.
We've been taking notes.
Yeah.
And we are going to tabulate, put it all together, and come up with each of us come up with your personalized dream trip.
All right.
All right.
All right.
We'll be right back. And we're back. We've done the numbers and we have taken the data that you've given us in your interrogation. Yes. I hope the interrogation wasn't too rough.
No, not at all. I forgot that we were interrogating me.
Oh, good.
Good.
Yeah. And yeah, we both have our dream trips
Okay.
ready for you.
All right.
Okay.
Arasha, are you ready?
I'm ready. Who's going?
I think I want to go first.
Okay,
Just
okay.
because like I just don't want to be like continuing to like
Yeah,
look
fair.
and-
Power move.
Power move. Okay. Arasha,
Yes.
for your dream trip, I am sending you to South Africa. What the hell?
Okay. Okay.
Yeah. Okay, here's the deal.
Yeah.
Here's how it starts. It's actually, I think I'm allowed to do this.
Oh, we'll see.
I'll allow it.
Okay. First off, you're not just there because I flew you there. You're there because you were shooting. You were filming there. You've like had
Get
like this
absolutely
like
fucked.
cool like this really cool experience in South Africa. And so that's actually our trip starts as that's wrapping up. So, and then a group of your friends are coming to meet you there. Wow. So first off, like after the like shooting's over, you've wrapped, I'm going to give you like 2 or 3 days to just kind of recoup from the shoot. So you're going to be like put up in just like a really nice glamorous hotel in Cape Town. And you're just going to eat really good food, like relax and kind of regenerate before your friends get there. So
Too bad the movie bombs.
Oh,
no, you
sabotage.
can't.
Absolute sabotage.
You can't sabotage.
Well, I don't know this yet.
Yeah,
Yeah,
okay,
it's true. And you leave the movie feeling like we did a really good job.
I see.
Okay. So it's you and all your friends in Cape Town to start. Cape Town is home to some of the best coffee shops in all of Africa. So it's full of coffee connoisseurs. So you're eating really great coffee. As far as cuisine goes in Cape Town, there is like a good deal of seafood. And on top of that, there's a combination of European, Malay, and Indian cuisines there.
Ooh.
So a popular street food you might try is bunny chow, which is a Durban street food sample. It is a hollowed out loaf of bread filled with a spicy curry, usually chicken, vegetable, or pork curry.
Yum.
I know. I was like, bread bowl? Yes.
Yeah. Yeah. Meaty clam chowder.
Yeah. If you're complaining about clam chowders that's not meaty enough, I have good news.
Oh, lovely.
There's bunny chow. And then also the popular dessert is coconut sprinkled donuts. So those will kind of be around, be plentiful
Yes,
for my
and.
dessert girly.
All right.
Okay. So you and your friends are going to go on quite a few excursions. You're going to go to Kruger National Park, where you'll see elephants and lions, like the
Ooh.
big safari animals.
Oh, my.
They're all there. But on top of that, you'll also get to go to Boulder's Beach on the Cape Peninsula, where there is a penguin colony.
Wow.
Really special.
Yes.
If you thought elephants were cool, you should see a bunch of penguins walking around.
I would love to see a penguin.
Yeah. You'll also be here in the spring, so you'll catch the spring wildflower boom at the Go Gap Nature Reserve. You'll check out all of these like cool like potholes feels like the wrong word for it, but it looks like this. It's basically like the canyons where like water's kind of like
Ooh.
dug into the mountain a little
Sure,
bit.
Yeah.
You'll also see giraffes, of course.
100%.
Giraffes, whatever. And then in Cape Town, while you're there, you'll go to the Bocap neighborhood, which is like all these brilliantly colored houses. It's like a rainbow of houses.
Love that.
You'll visit Johannesburg, which has a ton of street art. You'll also stay for like, let's say like 2 or 3 days at, what is it called? I'm finding it. It's basically a sick vineyard. I can't find it right now. But suffice it to say, you will also stay at a vineyard that's more like closely nestled to the mountains. So there's a lot of like, apparently this is a good wine region.
Okay.
So you'll be able to enjoy some wine with your friends.
Very interesting.
This is a little scattershot, but you can also in Cape Town take like a cool aerial cableway up to Table Mountain.
Ooh.
So this is going to be like a balance of wildlife
Okay.
kind of like exploration in terms of like the national parks and the aerial cableway and that kind of stuff. In Cape Town, it is like right on the ocean. So it's absolutely gorgeous, but there are also mountains nearby. So it's kind of like one of those nice coastal cities that's both.
Okay.
You'll be drinking wine, eating good coffee, eating some bunny chow.
Yes.
Yeah.
I can see it.
You can see it. And so, yeah, it's a balance of nature, city exploration, all within your friend group.
Good vibes.
And that is, and you'll do this for 2 weeks.
Okay.
So it's 2 weeks and 3 days total because you'll have the 3-day recoup from the film
to
shoot.
reset.
But yeah,
Okay.
but that's the trip.
I love
I'm
it.
Pitching to you.
All right. Tough
Okay.
competition.
I know. Yeah, mine is it's a little, I guess, less realized version maybe. Well, you'll see. Okay. This is a 2-part trip.
Okay.
Okay. The first part, a friend of mine leads retreats around the world. And I'm going to send you and Lily to I'm going to send you and Lily to northern Norway on Manshausen Island for a writing retreat
Ooh.
at this beautiful hotel overlooking the water. And you'll go hiking, kayaking, explore caves, and do writing classes and work on writing projects in the middle of the fjords.
Wow.
It's I guess on this island out in northern Norway.
Okay.
It's just this beautiful spot. It's a very just peaceful retreat, just writing. It's just this beautiful spot kind of on this island. And like the hotel is like cabins around.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah, very modern kind of cabins
Yep.
around, like lots of glass, lots
Okay.
of wood to like see the surroundings.
Yeah.
Then from there, so this retreat, I'm kind of fudging the timeline a little bit, but she's leading this retreat June 6th through 11th in real life.
Okay.
And then I'm going to send you on another. Then from there, you're going to go to Tanzania for a this woman, Justa Lujwangana. She leads kind of she calls them study abroads for millennials.
Oh boy.
Are you millennial or
I
Gen
think
Z?
I'm technically Gen Z.
Okay, well, Gen Z can also do them.
You
Totally.
can hang out with people like me.
Yeah,
I want that.
you'll feel young.
Okay.
Wow.
Surrounded by all
She's
these-
back.
Big, very
back.
important to me.
But so she leads these trips that are study abroads. So you kind of you'll start in Dar es Salaam
Okay.
and kind of you'll meet people there. You kind of live in the town of Dar es Salaam. It's a 10-day trip. You'll also go to Zanzibar, the historical white sand beach island with like a kind of colonial era architecture.
Yeah.
You'll do a spice farm tour, beachside restoration, reflective journaling, dance celebrations, village road trip to the national park. They have monkeys.
Okay. Huge.
There
Crap.
are monkeys
Very
in
cool.
Tanzania.
Okay.
Yeah, so you basically spend 10 days in Dar es Salaam and Zanzibar, kind of living there, kind of learning. It's very like a cultural immersion kind of trip with Lily, with like lots of time for like work, using what you and your friend Lily have worked on in Norway
Yep.
to kind of like then kind of like, I don't know, I find travel kind of really helps me write.
Totally.
And like I feel so inspired when I'm traveling to write, and so you'll be spending kind of like the mornings writing, and then the afternoons kind of exploring the city.
100%.
Being going into homes and like taking cooking lessons, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
All right.
So that is my dream trip to you, Arasha.
Oh,
Go ahead
boy.
and like, you don't have to. You can talk through it.
Yeah.
You
Yeah,
know, however you want to kind of
Yeah.
like reach your decision and choose my trip. It's good.
You're right. This is challenging. I will say lots of things are standing out to me with both of these options. So let me start with you, Garrett. It's so interesting that you bring up a writing retreat because Lily and I actually just did a writing retreat.
Oh,
Cute.
Just a couple months ago at this point, I think. It wasn't that far off, but we got a cabin for a weekend and just
Cool.
truly hunkered down, finished writing our show, and just had an absolute blast.
Yeah.
And it was in a cabin almost very similar to the one that you found, which is
Really?
very funny. Yeah.
Where was it?
Yeah. It was in Vista.
Vista.
So it's like a 2.5 hour drive down south, almost toward like
Okay.
San Diego, but
Yeah.
a little bit more east.
Oh, cool.
Super enjoyable though. So
Yeah.
loved that. And I also am really privy to newer experiences because I have never really dreamt of going to Norway.
Yeah.
But that sounds incredibly exciting to just be like, yeah, Norway, why not?
Yeah.
And secondly, I am a very productive person. So I would feel really good getting things done
Yeah.
on a trip. Like
Cool.
in that way, it feels really exciting to me to be like, I'm going to get stuff done and I'm also going to enjoy.
Yeah.
So all of that sounds very alluring to me. With South Africa, I'm also equally interested because my brother actually spent a lot of time in Cape Town.
Whoa.
Loved
cool.
it. He absolutely loved it. Has only great experiences to
Yeah.
share. I also have family in Africa. My mom's brother's family lives there, and I've never met them. So that would be
Whoa.
incredibly cool
Where
to
are
just
they?
like get to see them. I have no idea.
Okay. Yeah.
Truly, like
Yeah,
my
yeah,
whole
yeah.
life, I've just grown up and been like, yeah, my Africa uncle.
Yeah.
Like, he just lives in Africa, and that's that. So I imagine I'll do a little detour and go see
Yes.
him there. It's also, of course, so cool to think about wrapping up on a movie and then like having friends come over and seeing me after. Like a huge happy place for me, I think, is when I'm like being pampered. Like I love the opportunity to just eat really good food and just relax and do my own thing. And I, in a way, think that that's being offered with both of these options because I love the idea of 3 days of a reset, doing my own thing. Similarly with the writing retreat, like just getting to relax in this resort, like that is so ideal too. So this is really challenging. Oh, okay, let me think. I think I'm leaning toward being with a group of friends a little bit more. Just because
Yeah.
just because that is a little bit more me. I love the idea of like a trip with one friend for sure, and that does sound exciting, but I think what I'm trying to give myself is an opportunity to travel and not work.
Yeah.
So I think a dream trip would
Yeah.
entail like I've just worked a lot.
So now you have permission
So now I
to
have
enjoy.
permission
Yeah.
to enjoy. And having, again, like I just worked, now I get to like recoup, reset, and then a bunch of friends come and visit me. Like that just already sounds incredibly exciting to me, especially because maybe I will have a grasp of where I am. And so then getting to introduce friends to that rather than just being like, this is all new for all of us. I think I'm gravitating towards that. But I have thought now, Norway is now planted in my head, and I think I'm going to do more research about that because that
Okay,
equally
yeah.
sounds so exciting and fun.
I mean, I've never been to Norway. I really want to go.
Yeah.
Same.
And if you do go, we should do a trip report. We have had one person go on one of the trips we pitched.
I love that.
We should also say we don't have the funding to actually send you on this
We're
trip.
so sorry.
And
We're
they
so
always
sorry.
get you until
Yeah,
the
we
very
always get
ending
you.
of
Yeah, we
this.
This
also-
actually was a scam.
Yeah.
Got it. No, this was great, you guys. Genuinely, like, just recounting my travels actually put me in such a warm space.
Oh, awesome.
It's so
Yeah.
it's so cool to just like reflect and so many trips that I've like forgotten about too that I just was in my head like, wait, those were all like so lovely. Even the ones that were like inside of America still, I'm like
Yeah.
recounting those and I'm like, that was still really special to just like see a new place and have a fun experience, you know?
Yeah, yeah. I think like travel can be whatever. Like even if it's just from Santa Monica and seeing Atwater,
Yeah,
you know,
exactly.
like when Tommy was on, his big trip was to Long Beach.
Oh, love it.
Yeah,
Love it. Yeah. And LA is so interesting,
Yeah.
especially too, because literally every neighborhood is so different.
You can travel
Yeah.
the world in LA.
It's
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
crazy.
It's really cool.
It's so crazy.
Yeah.
So you're so right. Like it really can be local and minimal. It's just kind of what you make of it.
yeah. Well, thank you so much for coming on.
Yay.
This
Thank
was
you.
a blast. Yes,
Stay young.
as
Stay young, you
as-
guys.
yeah, stay young, and as you say to the Dutch kids, yay,
Yay.
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 All
they're,
right.
They're going to grow up just saying yay to their
Yeah.
parents. And what
beautiful.
is so exciting?
Bye.
Bye.
And that was another episode of Agents of Travel.
And another.
Another win for Rachel.
Yes.
For Panakukin. So that, I think it's fun to have a working travel.
Yeah, I think so.
I think it's, and I recognize that that's not, there's different types of travels,
Mm-hmm.
And I think I was pitching like, oh, this is a trip where you get to be in a place for stretches of time.
Yeah, and I think, speaking of traveling and journeys, a journey for you to like existentially kind of explore,
Go on. Yeah.
like being somebody pretty well informed on travel, but, just a series of L's and
Yeah, I know. It's been I came out hot
yeah.
in those first several episodes, and now I'm just falling flat on my face.
Yeah,
That's
but
okay.
travel's humbling. Like you have your peaks and your
Exactly.
valleys.
Exactly, and you learn from the humbling moments, those valleys.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Thank you, everybody, for listening. See you next week.
Go see Arasha's show.
Go see Arasha's show. Bye.
Bye.